1970, British scientist Ivan T. Sanderson wrote an article named The 12 Devil's Graveyards Around the World, in which he discussed what he called the Vile Vortex, an anomaly-heavy region on Earth where a disproportionate number of strange phenomena occur, such as disappearances, UFO sightings, underwater people, and other strange sightings. He attributed these phenomena to the existence of wrinkles in space-time involving gravitational and magnetic aberrations. Sanderson identified 12 spaces across the Earth in which these, quote, vile vortices might exist, including the well-known Bermuda Triangle and the Devil's Sea. Could such a vortex create a portal through which a visitor or creature from another dimension could travel?
Brain's complexity and delicate balance when thrown off can give rise to various neurological disorders, which may be the result of disruptions or alterations in the brain's ability to tune in to the universal consciousness field. Alice in Wonderland syndrome can cause people to perceive objects or body parts as larger or smaller than they actually are, as in the case of a 12-year-old girl who experienced episodes of micropsia and macropsia, seeing her hands grow impossibly large, while objects in the room seem to shrink down to a tiny scale. Capgras delusion causes people to believe close friends or family members have been replaced by imposters. In one case, a man known as David believed that his wife had been replaced by a perfect look-alike and refused to believe it was really her even after countless examples of proof were offered. Cotard syndrome, also known as walking corpse syndrome, causes people to believe that they are dead, do not exist, or have lost their body parts or organs. A patient referred to as Mademoiselle X believed that she had no brain, nerves, chest, or intestines, and was nothing more than a decomposing body. She denied the need to eat, claiming that as a dead person she could not digest food. The consciousness field theory suggests that consciousness exists independently of the brain. This perspective challenges the materialist view that consciousness arises solely from brain activity, proposing instead that our brains interact with a larger field of consciousness, which may be the source of mystical experiences, intuition, and creativity. This idea is related to panpsychism, which posits that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, permeating all levels of reality.
Drake is the biggest rapper in the Illuminati, and he's not even trying to hide it. And it takes about a 5-second Google search to see all of the weird symbolism that he uses. And it's most obvious when we look at his music. I mean, he literally has a song called Six God. And the cover of the song are literally hands praying to the 6, which is the devil's number. And if he's referring to the 416, which is Toronto, then why is there an evil eye in the middle of the cover of Summer 16? Now let's talk about his brand OVO. I've been trying to find out why he uses the symbol of an owl for his brand. And everything I looked up about a meaning of an owl is just very sickening things. I also found this place called the Bohemian Grove where only the extremely rich and powerful people can go. They gather here twice a year in front of an owl, pray to Satan, sacrifice things, and perform extremely mysterious rituals.
Rockefeller's plan to scam the world work. In the 19th century, oil was used to mainly lubricate steam engines, and being the second most abundant resource on Earth, it wasn't a valuable resource until it was discovered that it could be used as fuel, and the man leading the charge, John Rockefeller. Well, to increase profit, Rockefeller had to make it seem like oil was a scarce resource, sending his scientists to the 1892 Geneva Convention to put up the front that oil contained hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. Therefore, it had to have come from something organic. Thus, the term fossil fuels. However, it was never actually proven that oil came from fossils, and that while oil rigs drill up to 35,000 feet, a fossil has never been found below 16,000 feet. On top of that, Rockefeller donated over $180 million to the General Education Board, and now every textbook states that oil is a fossil fuel. So, did oil really come from fossils? Or aliens are actually monitoring us? Alien sightings have been fairly common and commonly written off. However, if you notice the trend in which sightings increase, it's usually during war periods where there's a threat of nuclear war. There was a spike in UFO sightings when World War II was ongoing, and recently with the war in Ukraine, the UFO sightings have spiked again. There's a theory that the reason for the increased UFO sightings is that the aliens are monitoring us. Because a nuclear war is not just bad for our planet, but bad for theirs as well. Upon the threat of a nuclear war, the aliens will descend to assess the threat of their own planets. That's why theorists believe that the people in power expose themselves. It is widely believed that the world is being controlled by a single organization working in the shadows. However, they have always been very careful about their actions, oftentimes making it look like mere coincidences, or even an accident. However, they might have just made a mistake, exposing themselves to the world. Recently, the influencer Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan were detained on very suspicious trafficking charges. The whole process doesn't sit right, and many lawyers have come out to say that the legal process was botched, leaving many to think the whole thing was staged, as the Tate brothers speaking out against the Matrix is detrimental to their control of the world. It gets even weirder, as just a while ago the people in power didn't even want to acknowledge Jeffrey Epstein's proven trafficking crimes, but are all in on this accusation against the Tates that hasn't even been proven true. So why the difference in the treatment? Are they covering up something? All we know is that the people in power are able to bend the outcomes to their desire. But this time,
why are all the largest corporations owned by the same people? Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Disney, Paramount, Pfizer, MasterCard, Fox Media.
Was this lady bumped off because she discovered the Matrix? In October of 2019, the CEO of Tinker Ventures, Erin Valenti, flew to California for a tech conference. She was scheduled to stay for only 3 days. However, on the last day of her trip, just as she was scheduled to get on a plane home, Erin's parents received a call from her, with a frantic voice yelling over the phone, "It is all a game. It's a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix," before hanging up. Subsequently, she was not heard from again, until a few days later, when police found a lady in an abandoned rental car on a residential street, dead. Her parents launched an investigation into this, claiming that Erin would have never done this to herself. And what was interesting was that the company that she owned was developing neural control and brain-machine interface technology, making people wonder if she accidentally discovered that we are all living in a simulation. So,
is reincarnation real? In Golan Heights, near the border of Syria, a boy claimed to have remembered being murdered. No one took him seriously until the village elders dug up a corpse from the spot where the boy said that his former body was buried. They soon realized that there was an axe mark on the skull of the corpse, which corresponded to a birthmark that was on the little boy's head. Later, the boy showed them another spot where he claimed the murder weapon was buried, and sure enough, he was right again. He then led the people to another village, claiming that it was his previous hometown, and when he told them his previous name, the villagers said the man disappeared 4 years ago. Finally, in that village, the boy confronted his murderer after showing all the evidence. The man eventually confessed and was charged with murder. So,